There's a question so dangerous, so destabilizing, that most people will spend their entire lives avoiding it. They'll distract themselves with work, entertainment, noise, and endless scrolling, anything to keep from facing it. But whether you run from it or not, the question waits. It hides behind every failure, every heartbreak, every restless night. Imagine for a moment that everything you've ever believed about your life, your choices, your world, might be more fragile than you think. That the very lens through which you see reality could be a story you've been told, a code you've been handed, a script written before you had a say. And by the end of this video, I'm going to share a truth that philosophers have wrestled with for centuries, a truth that might just shatter everything you believe about yourself, and at the same time, set you free. The project, before you get there, you have to walk through the shadows with me. Don't skip this video, because if you do, the secret you are going to learn at the end won't make sense at all. Now let's dive right into it. I'm your guide on this journey. We're diving deep into philosophy, not as an abstract exercise, not as dusty academic thought, but as a tool to understand the very mechanics of your existence. You've already been practicing philosophy every day without realizing it. Every decision you agonize over, every moral choice you make, every time you wonder whether your life has meaning, that's philosophy in action. But the difference today is, we're going to trace it back to its roots, to the beginning of the questions themselves, to the ancient minds who first dared to ask, what is the world? What am I? What can I know? Let's start at the beginning. The word philosophy literally means love of wisdom, and it begins not with answers, but with questions. Questions so profound that they have echoed across millennia, unanswered yet unyielding. Imagine ancient Greece, 500 years before the Common Era, a time when the world was exploding with new ideas, when humanity was waking up to the possibility of understanding itself not through myth, but through reason. While bards like Homer told stories to explain life, the earliest philosophers were quietly observing patterns, analyzing the stars, the cities, the human mind, and asking, could there be an underlying logic to all of this? Could the chaos of existence be more than just chaos? Now, this isn't just history, this is a mirror. These ancient thinkers weren't so different from you. They were searching, questioning, doubting. They wanted to know the same thing you do when you lie awake at night thinking about why you exist or what's meaningful. And in doing so, they created a toolbox, a set of lenses through which we can analyze life, society, morality, and even ourselves. Let's step into that world. Imagine the streets of Athens, crowded, chaotic, filled with merchants, citizens, and thinkers debating in the agora. You could overhear Socrates asking relentless questions of anyone who claimed to know something. He didn't lecture, he interrogated. He challenged assumptions, not to humiliate, but to awaken, because he understood a truth many still resist. Most people live their lives on autopilot, assuming they know the rules of the world when, in reality, they're acting out someone else's story. And that's the first tension point you need to feel. What if everything you think you know about morality, about success, about happiness, is just inherited, not earned, not examined, not tested? What if your freedom to choose is just an illusion built on unexamined assumptions? That thought alone can make you uncomfortable, anxious, maybe even a little fearful. Good. That discomfort is the signal that philosophy is working, that your mind is waking up. Now, philosophy didn't stop at metaphysical speculation. It evolved into structured fields, each designed to help us map the landscape of human experience. First, there's metaphysics, the study of reality itself. Here, the questions are simple in appearance, terrifying in depth. What is real? Is everything just matter? Is there something beyond the physical? If there is, what is it? And if there isn't, then where does meaning come from? You start to realize that metaphysics is like standing at the edge of an endless abyss, peering into a void and daring to map it. Every few minutes we hit these peaks of tension, moments designed to make you lean in, to hold your breath, because understanding the world at this level isn't comfortable. It's not casual. It's confronting the possibility that reality isn't what it seems, that even your mind, the thing that interprets reality, might be limited, biased, incomplete. This is where philosophy begins to feel personal. Because if reality is uncertain, then how can your beliefs, your choices, even your ethics be certain? Which brings us to epistemology, the study of knowledge itself. How do we know what we know? Are our senses trustworthy? Can our reason lead us to truth, or are we trapped in illusions? Think about the last time you were absolutely sure about something, only to find out you were wrong. Epistemology teaches us that certainty is rare, and that questioning, relentless, disciplined questioning, is a mark of wisdom. Imagine carrying that lens into your life. Every news article, every conversation, every belief suddenly becomes something you inspect rather than accept. The tension builds. It's uncomfortable, even frightening, but it's also liberating.
Now, let's add another layer. Value theory, the study of what matters, what we should care about, what constitutes a good life. This isn't philosophy in textbooks. This is philosophy as survival. Ethics asks, how should I act? What obligations do I have to others, to myself, to the planet? Aesthetics asks, what is beauty? What is art? What should I admire? Why do these things move me? Here, philosophy becomes emotional. It confronts the heart as well as the mind, demanding reflection on choices you've taken for granted. And just when you think it might be abstract, it hits you in the gut. The values you live by, often unconsciously, define the trajectory of your entire existence. And then comes logic, the tool set of the philosopher, the framework to cut through deception, confusion, and error. Logic is where ideas are tested, sharpened, and clarified. Without it, philosophy is wishful thinking. With it, even the most complex question can be dissected, analyzed, and understood. The tension here is subtle but constant. The more you sharpen your mind, the more you notice contradictions, inconsistencies, and uncomfortable truths. And those truths often point back at you, at your life, your decisions, your beliefs. At this point, if you're still with me, you might feel a strange combination of awe and unease. That's intentional. Philosophy is a mirror and a map, reflecting your reality and giving you tools to navigate it. And here's where the first emotional beat hits. The realization that much of what we do without questioning why, without inspecting the underlying principles, without recognizing the hidden forces that shape our choices. The discomfort is part of the awakening. It's part of the journey. And here, remember, there's a secret waiting at the end. A secret about how these ancient tools can illuminate the modern human condition. About how understanding philosophy can fundamentally transform the way you live, act, and even feel. That secret will tie everything together, but only if you stay with me, because skipping ahead won't give it justice. You have to experience the unfolding to fully grasp it. As we continue, think about this. Your life is a canvas painted by unseen assumptions, inherited beliefs, and untested ideas. Philosophy is the brush that allows you to examine the strokes, to question the colors, to understand the composition. And the sooner you begin, the sooner you can paint with intention rather than accident. You've been doing philosophy every day without naming it, But the difference now is awareness. The difference is discipline. The difference is clarity. And once you start looking at the world through these lenses, metaphysics, epistemology, value theory, and logic, the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. Decisions that once felt random gain context. Beliefs that once felt immutable can be examined and understood. Life becomes a series of questions, challenges, and opportunities rather than a series of automatic reactions. So pause here, breathe, and let that tension settle. Feel the weight of what we've started, because we're going to dive even deeper, applying these ideas to your daily life, your emotions, your relationships, and your perception of reality itself. That's where the real power of philosophy becomes undeniable. And that secret I promised, you're inching closer, but you'll have to stay with me till the end to unlock it. Now that you've opened the door to philosophy, the real journey begins. I already gave you the tools, the awareness, and the tension. The unsettling, awe-inspiring feeling that the world and your life might be far more complex than you imagined. But this is where we walk through that complexity. Here, we apply the lenses of metaphysics, epistemology, value theory, and logic directly to your experience, your decisions, your beliefs. And ultimately, we reveal the secret that has been quietly waiting, ready to transform the way you live. Let's start with metaphysics. Remember, this is about reality itself. What is it, and how do we exist within it? You might think you know the world because you see it, touch it, live in it. But philosophers ask deeper questions. They ask, what is the essence of what I perceive? Is my reality purely physical? Or is there something immaterial, something beyond the senses that defines existence? Imagine for a moment that everything you see, hear, and feel is a story told to you by your mind, filtered, interpreted, even manipulated. That story shapes how you live, the choices you make, the values you hold. Now, feel that tension. Your mind is both the tool and the lens, creating reality even as it perceives it. And every thought you have carries the weight of that duality. Think about the last time you felt truly lost, as if life had no direction. Philosophy tells us those moments aren't accidents. They are signals. They are clues that your mind is questioning, that your awareness is expanding, that the scripts you follow unconsciously may no longer serve you. That unease, that discomfort, is the friction that sparks growth. It's not punishment. It's the engine of awakening. Now, let's move into epistemology, the study of knowledge and certainty. This is where your brain starts to twist, because philosophy asks you to question everything you think you know. Are your memories reliable? Are your senses trustworthy? How do you know that your perception of the world is accurate? And more importantly, how do you know that the beliefs you've built your life around are true? Imagine realizing that every assumption you've held, every moral code you follow, could be built on shaky ground. The tension builds again. You feel it in your chest, in the subtle panic that arises when reality is questioned. But this is where the magic begins. Questioning reality is not weakness. It is power. Every doubt sharpens your perception. Every challenge to your beliefs is a chance to rebuild a more authentic, self-directed worldview. Think of the times you've tried to reason with someone who refused to listen, who clung to outdated beliefs, who acted as if their certainty was absolute. That frustration mirrors what philosophers have faced for thousands of years. Yet the lesson is universal. The world doesn't have to agree with your perspective for it to be valid. This is the empowerment hidden inside tension. You gain clarity, not control over others, but mastery over yourself. Now, value theory. This is where philosophy hits home. Ethics and aesthetics aren't just abstract ideas. They are the blueprint for your life. Ethics asks, how should I act? What is my responsibility to myself, to others, to the planet? Aesthetics asks, what is beauty? What moves me? What should I honor? And here's the challenge. In your life, so many of your choices are dictated by convenience, habit, or the expectations of others. Philosophy challenges you to examine every value, every attachment, every definition of good or bad that you carry. This is where tension meets emotion head-on. Because when you realize how much of your life has been unconsciously guided by inherited beliefs, it can feel like the ground is shifting beneath you. But it's also liberating. For the first time, you can ask, what do I truly value? What life do I want to create? And logic, the philosopher's toolkit, is your compass. It allows you to navigate the chaos of thought, to separate truth from deception, clarity from confusion. Think about the arguments you've had that never reached resolution, the decisions you've agonized over, the contradictions you've felt in your own beliefs. Logic is the map that can make sense of all of it, and every insight you gain through logic is a step closer to autonomy, a step closer to living a life not dictated by illusion, but shaped by conscious understanding. Now, let's pause a bit. Consider the enormity of your own existence. Think of the relationships, the losses, the small victories, the decisions that seem trivial, but change the course of your life. Each one is an intersection of choice and circumstance, a collision of free will and inevitability. Philosophy doesn't simplify this, it magnifies it. It asks you to confront the beauty and terror of living consciously. The tension here is exquisite. It grips you because it forces acknowledgement. Life is fleeting, complex, and wholly yours to navigate. Imagine understanding not just the world, but yourself. Every habit, every bias, every impulse suddenly exposed to examination. Some revelations are painful. You may confront moments where you acted against your values, where fear overrode courage, where ignorance masqueraded as certainty. That's the emotional beat that keeps you glued. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also profoundly freeing, because awareness is the first step toward mastery. As we approach the climax, here's the secret you've been waiting for. The reward for staying through every tension and every reflection. Philosophy, at its core, is not about memorizing facts or knowing the right answers. It's about understanding the mechanisms of thought, perception, and values. And the secret? Once you internalize these lessons, the metaphysical, epistemological, ethical, aesthetic, and logical frameworks, you gain a kind of invincible freedom. You can step into life fully aware of its illusions, its assumptions, its inherited narratives, and you can choose, truly choose. Every thought, every action, every belief can become intentional. That is the paradoxical power of philosophy. It doesn't tell you what to think, but it teaches you how to see, how to question, how to act with clarity. Imagine living in a world where no one else understands your perspective, where life feels absurd or cruel, but you see it with lucidity, and you're not trapped by it. You can engage, love, create, and act, fully aware of the uncertainty, fully aware of the fragility, fully aware that reality is both malleable and immutable. That is the gift philosophy offers, and it is yours if you claim it. So as we close this episode, remember, you've taken the first step not by memorizing ancient debates or historical facts, but by confronting the questions that have haunted humanity for thousands of years. You've looked at the world, your mind, and your values with courage, curiosity, and an open heart. And the secret, the freedom to live intentionally, armed with the tools of philosophy, is now within reach. This isn't the end, it's the beginning of a life where awareness, choice, and understanding guide every step. And the promise of the secret is that it's not a truth someone gives you. It's a skill you cultivate, a lens you sharpen, a power you exercise every day. Stay curious, stay critical, stay awake. Because the world you inhabit is richer, more complex, and infinitely more profound than you ever imagined. And now, armed with this secret, you are ready to navigate it with purpose. Thank you for staying till the end. If this video stirred something inside you, smash that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and leave a comment. I want to know what resonated with you. If it's your first time here, hit subscribe and join the Paradox Portal, where we explore the truths most people are too afraid to face. See you on the next one.